better roll them dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice.
Hello, Matt.
Hello, Rob.
And welcome, listeners, back to another episode of Dungeon Master of None. This is part 2 of our actual prep, where we're building out a sandbox. So if you've not listened to part 1, which came out right before this one, do go listen to it. But if you, for some reason, are just jumping in here, we'll do a little recap and launch into it. But it'll definitely help if you've listened to the first part.
And if you're wondering, like, what the heck is actual prep? So imagine an actual play, which is the most fun part of Dungeons and Dragons. Right. It's entertaining. There's beautiful people.
Everybody loves it.
It's excitement. Yeah. What if we did that same thing with the most boring part of Dungeons and Dragons?
That's right.
Where one person sits alone in a room and scribbles some notes.
That's right. What if we did that live? What a concept. And that's what we're doing here. This is the innovation that you can come to expect from Dungeon Master of None. The real bleeding edge of Dungeon Master focused entertainment. That's what's happening here.
This is a great case if you want some inspiration for your own prep. See how our brains work. And, really this is how you can, write your own adventures, which, as we have often said, are a source of semi-passive income. That's our goal here. These are great for monetizing, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Joking.
Yeah, that's a joke, people. You will make no money from this. Yeah. It's just for fun. So the conceit here, the idea is that we really liked the first act of Baldur's Gate 3. You don't have to have played the game to appreciate what we're doing here. But what's cool about that is that it's a really fun, really interconnected, really compelling sandbox. There's lots to do. Everything kind of like links to each other. It's a really like just fun place to bounce around in. And so we wanted to try to build something similar, drawing on the same kinds of ideas and methods. And so that's what we've started with.
As a motivating conceit to said low-level sandbox, which we only came up with at the very end of the episode, the players are cursed by sea devil, sea witch, god in a shipwreck after a final destination situation, or some other reason that they have to be cursed by this. They can't go to sea. The sandbox we're building is only accessible by sea, or it's maybe surrounded by mountains or cliffs or something. So that's the player's goal, is to figure out how to lift this curse or confront this devil. If the players try and go on the water, bad things will happen. We haven't defined those bad things, but we planned out some points.
Yeah, so if you listened to our first actual prep on the best starting adventure, which you can link in the show notes, you can also buy that adventure. It's complete. We put a lot of effort into it. But one of the things that happens in that adventure, spoilers, is that there is a warlock of Davy Jones, a demigod, patron of the sea, Davy Jones. And the idea is that you might, if you wanted to, pick up after that left off in this sandbox. It can be anything. Like Matt said, it could be a curse of a sea witch, a sea god, could be any number of things. But the idea is that your players are stranded on this marshy island, peninsula, whatever, and until they figure this out, they can't go to sea, which I think is pretty good, pretty compelling motivation.
Right. And, of course, you can replace it with your own. We also planned some zones and points. So, you could translate these to hexes. The idea is, here's a node of adventuring. There's a couple of locations and places and people around it. And it's connected to, all these are very connected, and then it's connected to the next node or two over. So what do we have so far? Are we ready for our recap?
Let's do a recap. Tell the listeners what we've got.
Okay. All right, so just from the last episode, I took some notes after re-listening to it. We have Zone 1, the Gatekeepers. There's the Gated Maze, which holds an artifact, the Fragment of Awakening, guarded by a angel with a flaming sword who has built around the maze the Keep of Ingress. Next to it is a village full of peasants, Threshold. Outside of it is a Stonebreaker's hideout, Rebels. And wandering around there somewhere is a friendly Minotaur rat person. The next zone after that is a circled wagons of the Tortle Wanderers, a Tortle caravan traveling to these lands. Nearby is a meadow full of fey flowers and pixies, and somewhere near there is a lair of a blossom chimera, a chimera made of flowers. And then the next zone after that is a Feywild's forest, and within that forest on the material plane side is a village of the Oaken Elves or Buff Elves, some psychochemical dwarves.
I wrote down the Brothers of Oak for those elves.
The Brothers of Oak. So good. And a hermitage of a mysterious green knight. If you cross over to the Feywild, it's the court of, I wrote down, the Barons 3, or something like that, or the Dukes 3, and we've got a couple Fey there. And those are the nodes we've planned so far.
Yes. So we started with Matt had an idea for a flaming sword. We started with our angel possessed by a flaming sword, building a labyrinth, guarding a artifact, and we worked outward from there. And we got 3 nodes down, three zones, 3 points for our point crawl, and now we need to work on both building out some additional points and also making sure that we've got sufficient connections between all of them.
Yeah, that's what we're going to try and accomplish. Well, who knows if we'll do it in the next hour.
I think we can do it.
It's good we had a break then, because this is like after an hour of prep and just planning nodes. It's a great spot to like ask yourself, like, what kind of nodes do we need, right?
So
I mean, my immediate thought is like we need like some more villains, like some real bad guys. I don't know.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So I wrote down a bunch of things. I'm going to give you a choice of 2. I'm going to give you 2 of the ones that I was thinking of. So I've got, and these are just off. Sorry, they're not off the dome, but they're not completely like full ideas. They are just like seeds of ideas. So I was thinking
we're supposed to do it all actual prep, but I think Rob and I both spent like 10 minutes right before recording.
Yeah, no, I mean I threw down some ideas as I was thinking about them, but this is listen, listeners, this is real. This is the raw, uncut preparation that you are witnessing.
I think that's the shit, man.
So 2 things I had an idea for, right?
Raw intelligence.
One, I'm in a big science fantasy mood these days. I recently reread the Book of the New Sun. I love weird science. I've been playing Caves of Kood, and I was thinking we could have a Numeria style or a Barrier Peak style science fantasy laboratory, like a big gleaming metal. I'm thinking like a floating sphere. Could
like the one in the Wheel of Time. That's the drill.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes, a little bit like that.
Yeah.
We could do that. So that's one option. The other option that I like, we're talking villains, is we've got an angel, right? And the angel is building a thing. What if there was a hunting lodge populated by devils in disguise, who are there to hunt both actual game, but also the most dangerous game, which isn't man, Matt, it's angels. Angels are the most dangerous game.
Angels. Interesting. Angels and paladins.
So those are the 2 ideas that I have is our science fantasy lab or tower and a hunting lodge with gentlemen hunters, but they're actually devils in disguise.
I absolutely love the idea of a devil hunting lodge. No, not hunting devils. Devils hunting lodge that is hidden away, secret, that maybe some of the people can give the players clues to. This is a great node because it can't be the first node.
Yep.
Like unless the players get extremely lucky, how are they going to stumble across something that is intentionally hidden when they're just wandering around? I love that. I was also thinking that there's this really powerful artifact in this valley, peninsula, island, whatever. Someone's got to want it,
right,
for something.
Well,
and
the cool things about the devils, as I was thinking, is they want the same things as the players, right? They want to bring down the angel and put an end to the weird nightmare dystopia utopia of of threshold, but they want it for different reasons, right? And they are clearly bad. But I do love this sort of dilemma, right? We present the players with a useful ally, enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. But what consequences might there be of trusting or working with the devils?
Cool. No, I like this. Why would they called the artifact the Fragment of Awakening?
Yeah, I liked the idea that it was, it basically is a thing that awakens plants and animals. It's a fragment of creation from, I don't know, the birth of the planes, the universe. The devils want it because they're going to use it to make something awful. They're going to use it to awaken monsters or create devil beasts of some kind. Who knows what sort of hideous amalgamations the devils might use such a thing for.
That's perfect. It gives me the idea that there was somewhere it might be the abyss, not the hells, but who cares, right?
Whatever.
There was the like some Orcus or someone like lives in the tower of like writhing flesh or something
one
like
of
that.
those
They
demon
wanna,
lords, yeah.
They want to they've built all these towers of writhing flesh, and they want to give them sentience to turn them into, if you ever played battle chess, little towers that can become, terrifying rooks that can move across the land. And this doesn't really matter to the players, but it's still creepy. But it also gives me the idea, since you said it was a hunting lodge, and since you said it's devils, there's always plots within plots.
Oh, of course. They're devils.
I would say that some of the devils are just there to hunt game.
Yes, of course.
Angels and paladins and good people. But one of the devils is like, the point of this hunt is to trick people to get to weaken the defenses or bring me the artifact or something like that.
Well, and we can use this to tie some points together, or to create some connections, right? So we know that in this area there's a bunch of magical beasts, a bunch of awakened topiaries and sentient, giant rats. And these are obvious reasons for the devils to be here. We can also have standard stuff like maybe they're hunting unicorns here. Maybe there's a bunch of unicorns in the woods, and
that's sort of the thing the players come upon,
Yes.
is someone's field dressed a unicorn.
That's right. They enter like one of the rooms of the lodge, and there's a bunch of unicorn heads mounted on plaques, and the devils are like, look at how look at how fine our hunt has been this season, and maybe we could be really sinister, and they also have like turtle heads mounted or something like that. Like we can layer it, right? Like, maybe down in the basement there's a bunch of like really like hideous trophies of like sentient creatures or something. But I love the idea of, on the surface it's a hunting lodge. Like, maybe it's a little like suspect. There's all these, well-dressed, asshole guys. But as you delve deeper, it gets like legitimately like even more sinister.
It almost makes me want to add more angels for them to hunt. Or actually, I could say, what if they're also hunting fae?
Yes.
And things like
that's
that.
what I was going to
So
say.
they're hunting unicorns, fae.
Fae.
If we can come up with any other celestial wandering monsters to put around here, it would make sense.
Yeah.
There's an angel here.
That's a good idea. They don't have to be like actual angels, but maybe like some minor celestial of some kind. Let me ponder on that. But yeah.
Yeah, we can come back to that. We can always give them more, things to hunt and trophies.
They're definitely hunting
And
Fae
then-
too, which will tie them to the Fae court, as a antagonist. But yeah.
So I would say this is a location that if the players discover they're devils, right, they catch the whiff of brimstone,
Right.
or they're like, I think unicorns are cool, I don't want you to kill
right.
them. They can just, clear this level like a dungeon,
Yeah,
right?
they can just fight.
But the devils are, of course, absolutely happy to talk to them. They don't care about dying here. It doesn't really
matter.
affect them. They can just go back to hell. what is, I think this one, so we have the secret want. There is, a hunt master who's actually about, they're like dressed in the fox hunting things.
Yes.
They have like some horses and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. Keywords: hidden, well-dressed, fancy, fox hunters as a stereotype. So we have the secret want of the hunt master wants the artifact. What's the like surface want that they might present to the players?
The surface want, I think, is that they want, the fox hunting thing is good. I think that they want like a particularly
celestial foxes.
Celestial foxes. I like that. They want a really good hunt. And I think that they want the players to help them flush game out. Like literally draw maybe the Fae or the Turtles or the citizens of Threshold into the open so they can have an English style fox hunt where they basically like run them down over a long course, but they can't do it unless somebody helps them draw out their game.
I think that makes logical sense. I'm just trying to think of the players' perspective. Like if they are like, hey, you're our hunting dogs, I think they're just gonna say no and kill these assholes.
That's probably true. I don't know why
this
the players
more
would agree
enticing.
to that.
Yeah. Like they're going to I don't know.
Okay, I've got it. They present this to our players, our PCs, as we want you to be involved in this hunt that we're having. This grand pursuit of our greatest game yet. And what the players don't know is that it could be that it's a particularly beautiful unicorn, or it could be the Minotaur that we discussed previously, or it could be another sympathetic creature.
I got it, Rob. It's enticing to the players because one of the devils has some sort of magic MacGuffin that can release the angel from the gate that she's guarding.
Perfect.
And they need, they would get caught if they put it in there. But since the players, are not devils, they won't be detected by the paladin's divine sense. Yes. They can go place it there, and this releases the angel's bonds. And the devils say, listen, you can join us in this hunt. You can even have her sword when you unlock her from this Santa Claus curse that she's under. We just want to kill her. She's a tyrant.
That's perfect. That's great. Yeah, the greatest game is the angel. They can't release her because, they're devils. They will be detected immediately by the gatekeepers. But if the players release her into the wild, they can hunt her, which is the most exciting thing in the world for a bunch of hunting devils. And once they kill her, they'll give the players can go and get the artifact. They'll give them the sword, whatever.
They have in Fantastic Four naming convention, they have the multiversal contract nullifier. When if you touch it to her, will release her. And this is useful because if the players kill the devils, they could still get this contract nullifier and decide what to do with it after.
This reminds
maybe a way to get one of the players, if the players killed Girl Boss Angel and got stuck there, they might need to go get this.
This reminds me, so thinking about connections, right? Devils, they love contracts, they love terms, they love documents. I don't have anything immediately at hand, but what if a connection here is one of the other factions, one of the other points has signed a contract with the devils? Unwittingly, probably, not knowing that they were devils, and now they have agreed to unfavorable terms, and they need the players to potentially help them renegotiate or simply nullify the contract somehow by banishing the devil or stealing it and burning it or something like that. One of these things. I think that there's real potential there.
Yeah, there's something there. Yes. Do we want to add any sub points near the Devil Hunting Ground? I guess we have the lodge itself. We have basically a unicorn grazing area /
I was thinking like a
killing
a
field.
pond, like a unicorn. It's always like a beautiful pond and a glade is where the unicorn.
In lore ways, the devils, if you're comfortable with this with your players, will be like, are any of you untouched? Are you virgins? The unicorns, they
love a virgin. That's right.
Virgin. We could really use that on our hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they're pompous. There's probably not that many of them, enough for the players to be a fight if we want it to. And then I think this is good enough for this zone at this point.
I think so.
We can come back and add some other connections to some other things. Like as hunters, they probably know about like cool monsters in the area.
Yes. They probably know the
and
area
tell the
very well. They
players.
could probably tell the players all kinds of things. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Another zone. I feel like we definitely need I want to come back to your floating ball.
I've got some
I think we
others,
need,
but feel free to sling your own at me.
Well, I don't have any yet, but I want to just run some like things that I felt like might be missing from our point crawl. Is I feel like we need just like one. You can't go wrong with an abandoned ruin.
Well, I was thinking
right?
about
just
ruins.
like a weird
Yes, yeah.
And actually, I think that one might be great to combine with your like floating science fantasy lab.
That would be
it's
perfect.
abandoned
Yes.
and, that way we don't have to like come up with a bunch of what do these far future scientists want? No, it's just
Even
floating
better.
there. It's
An abandoned science fantasy Numeria lab full of weird metals and possibly some science fantasy technology. That's perfect. That's great. Because then we don't need to figure out. Then it starts to get complicated. Like, what do they want? How are they related to all this? But yeah, perfect. Some ruins. It's just it crash landed, like as these things tend to do nearby.
Right. I'm just looking at it from the player's perspective. I think we need a point where people who might try and oppose or hunt the players might be based out of, aka we need a villain. And we also, and this could be a separate thing, we need something that's going to like tie to the, we haven't decided how the players are going to lift this curse yet. Lots of people might tell them, oh yeah, use the Fragment of Awakening. Use, the devils might be like, hey, we can nullify this curse.
That's right.
Lots of people will be promising the Fae. Oh, you want to go to the forest and talk to the Fae? They can
fix this for you. Yeah,
they are great bestowers of curses. They could also lift it. Yeah. So I feel like we need like a villain or something opposing the players, or something that they might want to really go to as they discover this plot and how it works.
Yeah, that makes sense. So some ruins of weird tech, and let's say, okay, so the only problem, this isn't a problem. I would love to, no, let's keep it simple. There's some cultists or a faction of a conspiratorial faction, some kind of secret society that is growing powerful and doing weird rituals in this ruin, and why do they want to kill the players? What
Well, I'm not saying we have to combine the villain and the abandoned ruin. I think those should be
I see.
separate.
Okay.
Yeah. But okay, let's focus on the abandoned ruin. I like something floating. How about a weird shape that's not a circle? How about a torus?
Great. Oh, a torus is perfect. Yeah. Okay. So it's a big shiny donut, big floating donut above, some rocky hills or something.
It's a donut, or as a mathematician once explained to me, a coffee cup is also mathematically a torus.
Yeah,
Coffee
yeah.
mug.
Okay, that's
because it's got a hole.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm not pretending that I actually understand what that means.
I think I understand what that means.
I think ours should look like a donut, but maybe like part of it's broken or
Yes.
something where the
Yeah.
players can
Yeah.
get in. Now, if it's floating, everyone, or at least a lot of people, know where it is.
Yeah.
And the thing that keeps people out is probably you have to fly or levitate to get up there. And this was used super well in the point crawl ultraviolet grasslands,
Oh,
right? There's just a
yeah.
dungeon that's floating there, and it's a little hard to get to. And I like that. I like that you can see it and people know about it, but you're like, yeah, I mean, what am I, a bird? But of course, the players are birds and flying people and stuff because they're mages and druids.
I like
and
that
stuff,
too
so
because
they can get up there.
because they'll see it or they'll know it's there, and with enough preparation, it's not like floating super high up, so they can either prepare a spell of levitation or ask a fairy to do it or buy a magic item or something.
Right, a fairy can give them a potion
Yeah.
of flying or something. Actually, Rob, this is a great point because it's so attractive that the players might go there right away. But if they're level 1 and they don't have any resources, they can't get in there.
Yeah.
That's okay. We just have to put something interesting at the bottom of it
Yeah.
to interact
Yes.
with. A bunch of goblins that like worship it or
I love
something
that.
like
Oh,
or
no.
choose a different
No,
type of monster.
Goblins
Yeah.
is perfect. Goblins is perfect. They've crafted themselves, insane, spiky, post-apocalyptic armor with star metal, or like partially star metal, making them like ever so slightly tougher than regular goblins, but like not a lot. And they're super religious, fanatical, militaristic goblins with spears. Because the Taurus is broken or it like hit the peaks, and so big chunks of it come off, and there's it's scattered around the area. I love it. Goblin tribe, a very above average scary goblin tribe. Still goblins, but they've made themselves into like a
their philosophy is breaking
Yeah.
things because the great god above is broken and showed them to break things. Lean into the real like Pathfinder
That's right.
goblin vibe. They're
Power
out
comes
there-
from breaking. Yes, yeah.
Power comes from breaking.
Yes.
We can build out some little factions in the goblin stuff.
Sorry, I like this so much,
there
Matt,
might be
because
some
we can
clues.
send
Yeah.
those goblins all over the place. There can be
Oh, yeah.
there can be like
the goblins are constantly
there can be
raiding
little
and-
bands of the goblins of the broken circle everywhere in these points, and the players will encounter them and be like, what the fuck are these guys, these dudes again? And yeah, that's
Rob, red dragon voice, the wandering monster table. The wandering monster table ascended. Do you see, Rob? Do you see how the wandering monster table builds itself? Listeners, sorry, I'm really tight. Rob knows. I'm telling the listeners.
Yes.
Do you see how
Do you
the
see?
wandering monster table is so useful for sandboxes?
I'm
Okay.
witnessing a great becoming of the
Yes.
wandering monster table.
The goblins have never been up there. But what do we want when we build a let's go to, and this is perfect, the broken Taurus, because there's 2 entrances and it's one big kind of linear dungeon. It doesn't have to be big. It could be 5 or 6 rooms they can approach from either end. What do you want the theme of this science fantasy thing to be? What was it, do you think, originally?
Let's see. I said laboratory when I just jotted down my ideas, but what if it's, let's see, it's a Taurus, it's long abandoned. I'm trying to get in my Gene Wolfe brain. I'm like, what kind of weird fucking shit would be in a Gene Wolfe Taurus? Ooh, okay. It's Pleasure Cruise. It's actually like just a cruise vessel, but that's not immediately obvious to anybody because it's made out of space age material, and it still has like weapons and defenses. But like as you go in and delve deeper, the players discover all these like couches and tubes and all kinds of things for advanced
Right.
deranged.
There's like an automated cafeteria and like a sun tanning room and a bio reconstruction room and a teleporter that will take them somewhere else down to the surface. And if you're like, I'm not a fan of the science fantasy stuff, it's wizards, right? It's just fancy wizards.
Just make it a wizard tower instead.
Wizards from an ancient civilization. Yeah. But I love this. Perfect. And then, do we want to add more? I'm looking at our hour deadline. I feel like we should we stay here or should we move on to a new zone? Oh, sorry. What do the goblins want?
Oh, the goblins want to break things. The goblins want to break threshold. They want to break threshold. Maybe like first and foremost, but they also are religious fanatics. So everything that is not broken, they want to break. So they've sent bands.
This is perfect when they talk to the knights and they're like, I'm getting a weird vibe from these knights, but they're telling us to go fight some goblins. That seems normal.
Yes. Yeah. So their main goal is, because I think it's the closest, like most put together thing. They want to shatter the walls of Threshold. They want to break it, but they also want to break some turtles. They want to break some fae. They want to break some devils. It's just the most built up thing is Threshold, so that's their like primary target.
Broken Taurus. That's an awesome abandoned ruin, an awesome dungeon, cruise vessel. Great. All right. Well, that was a supposedly fun dungeon. We'll never do again.
That's right. All right. Yeah. Let's do one more point, and then I think we're ready to sort of like start bringing it together.
Okay.
What do we need? Sorry, I don't need to
say it all again, but we need a villain
faction,
or a really ops. Yeah, the villain faction doesn't necessarily have to have a point, but it's for a Sandbox.
Yeah. Okay, so we need some villains. I think you're right. I think we need some dedicated bad guys. We've got Fae. We've got devils. Davy Jones is our antagonist, or a sea witch, or something like that. Let's have some amphibious creatures. Let's have some deep ones, some crab people, some Sahugin. I do love Sahugin. I think they are great villains. Yeah. Why don't those? Yeah. Why don't those be our bad guys?
Yeah. Sahugin as bad guys. That's great. Ooh. If Davy Jones, I assume Davy Jones might be a demon or a devil. Or a powerful hag or something. But Davy Jones could also be like an ancient dragon if you go back to our other thing, like opposing Serial. Davy Jones could be a kraken.
Kraken are powerful. Davy Jones could be an aboleth.
Yeah. We don't have to decide yet because I think Davy Jones is outside the scope of this part of the adventure. However, I did...
What's the like evil version of an Imperial Lord, right? There's the Pathfinder has all these
a demon.
Yeah, just a demon. Yeah, that's not that
Davok. How does that sound as Davy Jones's real name? Sorry, it just sounds evil.
It doesn't sound evil. Isn't Davok like a dragon god? Isn't that? It's not bringing up any.
Dahak.
Dahak is the
Dahak.
Davok is great.
Dragon.
Davok is good.
Okay.
Davok is is Davy Jones's other name, one of his many names. Of course, he's an evil. He's got many names.
We've got some Sahugin. We could put them on the coast in like a cool thing of sea caves that like fills with water half of the time, so the players have to raid it
at a certain time.
Yep. Or, we could do something crazy. The Sahugin have a point deep inland that is showing their increasing power.
Sea caves was something that I wrote down. I like the idea that there's a network of sea caves maybe running deep into this whole region that the Sahugin have either carved out or colonized, and it allows them...
Oh, the players can... We did in our starting adventure put in cenote as a thing.
We did.
So this is a whole limestone-filled area with sea caves underground. Okay. We can always build a connection between points down through one of those caves.
That's what I'm thinking, is that they're extensive in the Sahugin. This is good, too. This means that
Rob, you wrote down anthill?
I did.
What if they live in a former Formian anthill or magic anthill, and maybe the players can encounter a couple of the survivors that once live there before the Swagan drove them out.
Okay, that's great. I love that. Even better than
An anthill on the coast.
anthill on the coast, an abandoned Formian anthill. Perfect. I do like the sea caves and the connections. We can have that sort of be tying a bunch of stuff together. It also means that if, the Sahuagin are popping up and raiding all over these points, it could be the thing that the players are slowly uncovering. Like, how are the Sahuagin, showing up like so deep inland? And this could be one of the the big mysteries that they're trying to uncover as they also go about their other business.
Sahuagin are great. It gives the players lots of chances to make some jabberjaws jokes and all that stuff.
Make some street sharks jokes. Yeah,
Street sharks. Oh boy. Yeah, maybe
something for everyone.
Maybe these. Listen, we can define whatever we want. Are the Sahuagin actually like a species of intelligent people, or are they just people who have been cursed into street shark or Sahuagin form? I do kind of like that.
I kind of like that too.
The sailors who fell into the sea,
Yeah.
and then Davy Jones has sent them back as Sahuagin.
This is cool. Wait, this means that if our players fail, when they succumb to the curse, they become Sahuagin. That's their fate, right? That's the fate that they escaped.
That is really good. It is so close to what happens in Baldur's Gate 1,
that's
right?
true.
If you don't do this thing, you'll turn into this
Mind
thing.
Flayer. You keep saying 1. You mean Baldur's Gate 3, Matt?
Baldur's Gate 1? Baldur's Gate 3 Act 1.
That's
That's
right.
where I was getting that from.
That's true. That is exactly what happens. You turn into a Mind Flayer if you don't do the thing.
Listen, feel free to use that in your game. I feel like out of respect for the source material, we have to come up with something.
But I do like the idea that the
different.
Sahuagin are not like a race of shark people. These are cursed sailors that Davy Jones has turned into his demonic servants.
How about something a little more warlock-ish? We all know the warlock is the coolest thing,
True. Yes.
right? What if part of this campaign conceit, right, as the players deal with their curse, is just everyone's a warlock? As in, you have a connection to Davy Jones. This is, if you go to the sea, Davy Jones will swallow you up and pull you down. You'll be forever his and his servant. However, if you can survive long enough without that happening, you will develop like some warlock powers, and just like whatever game system you're using, give the players a free cantrip or a boon,
Something
or a plus
small
to
but notable.
a skill.
I like that. Yeah,
right. Every couple levels. So the curse also has some powers. And so, I mean, again, this is stealing directly from Baldur's Gate 1. It's like, hey, what if the thing that's bad is actually good? Do you want to embrace it or not?
What worked about that, though, is like it actually isn't very well implemented in the game, but the idea is good, right? Do you embrace the terrible thing that's happening to you and maybe gain some powers? This is actually drawn from the first 2 Baldur's Gate games, where your PC is a Baal spawn, a child of Baal, and if you lean into that, you get some really like sick, nasty demon powers. But then you also are turning into a horrible demon creature. So I think it's a trope, but it's a good one, and one we can lean into.
Yeah, there's no reason not to just hit that. And I like you're not going to become a Sahuagin, but you will become a permanent warlock of Davy Jones, like a servant without free will.
That's right.
Down at the bottom of the locker.
That's right. That's right.
Is a locker?
It's a locker,
like
David.
A chest?
I think it's a chest. I think it's just like a.
Okay.
I think it's metaphorical.
Or is
Matt
it-
is the sea is all Davy Jones's locker. I don't know.
What's the combination? Oh, someone can say that to the players. Well, you need the combination to Davy Jones's locker to lift the curse. So the Sahuagin want to raid. I'm guessing they may also want the artifact of awakening.
Oh yeah.
But they may also want something from the Feywild. Maybe actually, if the goblins are raiding everything else, the Sahuagin are raiding the Feywild, because that's maybe the intrusion, and that kind of gives us a thing for the courts of the Fey to want from the players. Drive these Sahuagin from our
away.
land.
I think that we've talked a little bit about various Fey creatures, and I think the Sahuagin want something from the Fey for slaves or like livestock. Like they want to capture a bunch of Fey otters or seals or something.
Yeah. I bet we could. I like that because Sahuagin, like in their ecology, are normally like, hey, we keep lots of enslaved people. But because it's like we decided to put an actual court of the Fae here, it could be interesting. Like they are capturing like pixies and our buff elves are
brothers of oak.
The brothers of oak. To drag down to their sea caves, but from the Fae, like the actual chief of the Sahuagin wants like something magical. You know, the Fae is like magic is always
that's
like,
true.
well, I have a box of smiles or something, or I have, you know.
Oh, that's good.
like that.
Okay, so the court. No, that's good. The court has something or many somethings that the Sahuagin want. They.
Fae has links to moons. Moons have links to tides.
That's perfect. Okay,
tides are oceans.
It's a box of the tides. It's a or a bottled tide. Oh, that's it. Is the
bottled tide?
The Fae can just like capture the tides in a bottle. They use this for parties. You know, you drink it and it makes you feel like real, like whoa. But the Sahuagin can use it to like actually like manipulate,
submerge a city, clean up the survivors.
And so they're constantly trying to like raid this court to steal these tides, these bottled tides.
When you're saying bottle of tides, now it's sounding like the laundry detergent.
Sorry, don't
you may
say
have
that.
to come up with a synonym. The tidal chalice.
Bottled tides is better than a bottle of tides. But yeah, or the tidal chalice or something like that. Yeah.
It's a tide ad.
This is one of my favorite things about like prepping things is coming back to my stuff. I'm like,
That sounds stupid. Yeah. That's okay.
A bottle of Tide. Okay, cool.
These tidal bottles. Yeah.
And cool, that gives us a theme for one of our Fae that we just had. That is the captain, right? They're like a kind of a sea captain Fae or something like that, and they're the one that has the tidal bottle. And I think with the Fae, you know, since we have three, when we get to it, we'll draw a little triangle, write down the relationship between each of the Fae, which one likes, and, dislikes the other, or wants this and that. That's how you build those little Fae things. Okay, cool. So quickly to recap, here are the points, and I'm going to include a starting village, which can be the village of Three Bells here. So we have village of Three Bells. We have the anthill full of Sahuagin on the coast. We have the broken Taurus with a goblin camp under it. We have a secret devil hunting lodge. We have the Fey Wilds Forest. We have a Toral caravan, and we have the gatekeepers. We have 6 nodes with plenty of subpoints. Like, to me, this is looking like more than enough for like level 1 through 6 adventure.
There's a lot here. Yes,
I would definitely add. There's the players, like if the players want to get out of here or something like that, there is a mountain pass or something, and there's like an ice dragon or a white dragon guarding it. They can go kill it if they want. It's very hard to do.
I like that. That's good. Yeah, there's one overland passage to the rest of the world, and you can do it, but yeah, it's extremely dangerous.
The best way to build a sandbox is like things happen, but they happen as a result of the players, right?
Yes.
The goblins take over a threshold, or the devils take the artifact, the buff elves migrate somewhere else. There's a big party. There's that kind of thing. But you can also add like, hey, here's like some crazy events. And then I think the other things we need to do at the initial planning stage is how can the players actually like lift the curse, and what other connections do we want to make between these zones?
Okay, I like that. So how do the players lift the curse? So the fragment of awakening, the thing at the center of the maze, they can take that and give it to a powerful cleric. and that cleric will lift the curse for them. This is maybe this is somebody hanging out in the starting village. This is the simple, straightforward, easy solution potentially. But the other way, we give them other ways, right? The devils can do it. We've already talked about this. If they give the devils what they want, the devils can nullify any kind of contract, including whatever Davy Jones has come up with.
Curse. Yeah.
They could also strike a deal with the Sahuagin. I don't know why they would do that, but like the Sahuagin serve their Dark Master, and if they give them what they want, then they might be able to lift the curse that way.
That's perfect. Like so possible solutions with an eye to, hey, whatever your players come up with could be cool, is they need the ingredient of the fragment of awakening. The devils will do it for the fragment of awakening. The Sahuagin will do it for the bottled tide.
Yep. I have one more.
And then
I have one more. The Fae can lift this curse, but only if the players swear fealty to one of the barons. So they would have to trade one master for another. Is sort of like the bargain there. And in order to do that, they would have to complete. Oh, you know what they would have to do? They'd have to get rid of the devils. The devils are hunting the Fae, and so if they eliminate the hunting lodge, then the Fae will take them as servants, basically, as knights errant or whatever, which is being in a deal with the Fae is kind of like a lateral move from being in cursed by some kind of sea devil, but it may be appealing to the players. Who knows?
I've got these are all great. I've got one addition. You said if they have the fragment of awakening, it can they can do it if they can find a cleric who can help them lift the curse. And I'll say, the people in town can tell them where there's a place of like powerful magic where the players can cast the spell themselves. However, it's off the coast, so they'll have to take a boat ride and risk Davy Jones's wrath to get to the island. And that's a thing, if they don't want to like align themselves with one of the factions, they can do at great risk.
That's perfect.
Maybe when they're higher level and they feel like they can hold off an octopus attack or whatever.
I like that. That's great. That adds some. That's the sort of like least complicated, but maybe the most dangerous of the various options.
I would also add, we have, 4 possible solutions. We can always make one or two of these like false solutions, right?
Yes.
Especially if we add more in 5. Having 3 that actually might work is pretty good, because then the players will discover one of them.
Yeah.
But it's okay to add, if you have this many ones that are like, the Sahuagin were lying all along. They would never betray Davy Jones. Or the Fae, they can't actually lift the curse. They can just add their loyalty on top of it.
Yeah, they can just make this worse for you. Yeah, I like that. A couple of them can be not real solutions. That's good.
This is the point. Oh, okay. Events. Do you have any events that are coming to mind, and they don't have to connect to the larger plot? We have wandering monsters that are going to be happening all the time that can give players an idea of what's happening.
I've got a couple. So one that is coming to mind is that if the players fail to address the sort of like turtle problem, if they don't help the turtles with their sort of like dilemma about what do we do,
what do we eat? What are we gonna? We don't have any flowers.
The war faction wins the council, and the turtles,
the ninjas,
the ninja turtles, basically like arrange they become like a war party, like they and they march on.
This gives you the chance as the DM to finally say the turtles are going to war.
That's right. The turtles march on probably Threshold. The turtles march on Threshold and besiege it or something like that, and then that throws all of these into like chaos somehow.
What is the cool event that can happen in case of peace? I still like the idea of them like marching or doing something cool.
Yes. If you do solve their problem and they get to eat their delicious flowers and be hedonists, then they also march, and they march. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a connection to our other factions. They march to the fairy court and they beseech the barons on behalf of the players.
How about they march down to Three Bells?
Oh, even better.
And they're like, oh, we'll stay here for a season.
That's-
and you don't have to define.
Actually,
what
that's
that
even
is.
better because you can decide sort of like what that means. But they march Three Bells and they set up camp outside, trade and collaborate with the people there. That's good. Yeah, then they march Three Bells, which is cool. It's less momentous, but it's still kind of like a neat something is changing in the world based on the player's actions.
Excellent. We have 2 events. We can always add more. These are great. I'm going to throw in that ice dragon that's in the peak will attack something interesting. The players can go and slay it. You can keep the peak closed even if the players kill it. Let's see.
If the Sahuagin are left alone and they get their tidal bottle, their tidal chalice, then there's a red tide. Then there's the tide comes in.
It's the bottle of red tide.
The tide comes in super high, and it's full of Sahuagin and other toothy creatures, and suddenly everywhere is kind of flooded and also maybe under attack by nasty things with pointed teeth.
Excellent.
That doesn't have to be everywhere. That could just be like Three Bells. It could be Three Bells.
Yeah, no, I think it's Three Bells. Three Bells gets destroyed.
Yes.
If the players side with the Sahuagin or the Sahuagin eventually conquer the Feywild.
Yeah.
Forest.
Perfect.
We've got 6 zones, and then we've also got, let's say, Three Bells is a 7th zone. This is the point in planning a point crawl, hex crawl, or sandbox where you have to start mapping things out.
Yeah.
But listeners, just imagine
that we're doing
if
that.
you will, these points, and I'm looking for what are all of our connections and which points need connecting to other ones.
So let's see.
The Broken Taurus goblins are raiding Threshold and the Turtles.
The Turtles.
Devil Hunting Lodge is hunting
The Fey.
Fey unicorns.
Yep. And also Threshold paladins and other folks.
And the Angel.
And the Angel.
Right. Kill Angel. And then let's see. The Sahuagin will offer to are raiding and attacking the Feywild Forest.
Yep.
I think we need a peaceful connection among these things. Who of these points has some kind of relationship where sometimes people go between and check? Oh, how about there's a psychochemical dwarf that lives in Threshold, and he comes to buy powders and stone dust for things.
Great. I love that.
There's a dwarf trader.
The Turtles have peaceful connections, I think, to everywhere that will take them. So, there's a turtle emissary in the Feywild. There's, a trader in Three Bells. Maybe there's even one hanging out in the hunting lodge, just enjoying the atmosphere.
Yeah. I think more than just this, we should have some connections that are not just people from one of the places at the things, but things that, quests that need to, hey, go over here to this new point for me to do X, right? Because a lot of the point quests stay in the point. That's by design.
Yeah.
That's good, But let's see, the Angel wants the player, or the Paladins wants the players to deal with the bandits. That stays in the place. The Angel wants the players to destroy the Broken Taurus to knock it down. That doesn't really fit.
No. I like that. No. That's perfect. The angel does want the players to bring down the broken Taurus because even though it is a pleasure cruise vessel, hidden on it is a dimensional anchor of some kind that is preventing her from cementing her control of the area in a small way. It's one of the guests left it behind, or it's built into the Taurus. Again, either this ancient civilization or science fantasy, whatever. It was a standard part of their tech or magic, and it is causing problems. And nobody knows about it except for the angel, because the angel is powerful enough to notice the way that it is sort of like warping reality. And so she wants the players to bring it down.
Excellent. And then I think we can easily add that if the players talk to the goblins, they say a bunch of, and decide to befriend these incredibly chaotic and very evil goblins, which they will absolutely do like 80% of the time.
Almost, if they possibly
say that,
can.
Their three bravest warriors were all captured by the Sahuagin, are in their prison.
Yes, perfect, yes.
We need some connections with wherever the players are starting. And this could be the shipwreck that they washed up on shore. It could be this town of Three Bells if you're just going with that starting adventure.
I
would say that, just some friendly NPCs will tell the players that, oh, hey, if you want to leave, the mountain pass is this way. On the way there is the meadow where the turtles are.
Perfect.
So just like, hey, we want to get out of here. How do we go? It's like, we'll take them to the turtles.
And everybody knows about Threshold, and most of them are like, yeah, that place is weird. We steer clear of it, but it's there, and the players can start hearing about it right away.
Right. And I'm imagining that there's like some farms on the outskirts of Three Bells that, farmers will tell them about goblins and unicorns and other wild creatures if they ask. I'm looking back, Rob, at our Three Bells. Again, we're designing this point crawl really without, it's just sort of crept in because we were like, we needed a starting location pretty quickly. But I think we have a Fey Selkie in there.
We do. Sigerbjorn.
And I think this is a great connection to the Feywild. She can tell them about the Feywild location.
Perfect.
Things that stole the dragon's treasure can absolutely be the Sahuagin. But I think now that I'm looking at our map here, there's not direct connections to the Sahuagin from Three Bells or most places. I think that's good. Like, to me, this is like the advanced point, the Sahuagin shrine.
Well, I also think the connection, like the Sahuagin connection to Three Bells, is an obvious one. They can just be like around. There can be Sahuagin footprints in the sand or people disappearing or whatever. Like, we don't. That one sort of like builds itself, right? They're raiding sea monsters, and it's a coastal town.
Well, no, I mean, what I'm saying is, like, there are no connections as it is to Three Bells. The Sahuagin stronghold is kind of secret. You have to go to a point or two to really discover that it's there, and that's good. I think if the first, like, player adventure is like, hey, let's just fight all these Sahuagin, that's less interesting. The Sahuagin are way more interesting since they link to, like, 2 or 3 of our solutions for the players' driving motivation.
Yeah, I like that. You're right.
And then I think another fun thing to do with the sandbox, we talked about like A, B, and C motivations, party, personal, and world. Obviously, the sandbox has plenty of world. We built out a pretty cool party one. Personal ones, and I'm thinking of like, just your average player backstories. You've got like, hey, you've got mages of various types, divine, arcade, druid. You've got cool fighters. You've got people who've, probably like lost someone special. You got, these are things you kind of have to build with your players after you get their stuff.
Yeah.
But it sometimes is useful to think, well, what are the general ones, and do I have those types of things?
I think there's a lot of, again, it depends. Like, I think there's a lot of there's a lot of factions here that have deep connections to the part of the world that either kidnap or coerce people. Like if somebody, like if it's like a missing brother or sister or wife or mother or father, there's a bunch of different places they could be. If it's they're looking for power, there's a lot of people that could give them that power. If they're looking for vengeance, there's a lot of places that a quarry could hide. You know, if it's
Quarry. We can build a giant stone quarry where they're getting all the stones to build the Keep of Ingress, where all the laborers are working.
That's actually a really good idea.
And the laborers like, hey, there's something that lives in the bottom of the stone quarry. It comes out at night. Will you go kill it for us? You know, a nice simple quest, but a really crazy stone quarry.
Yeah.
Like it's super deep.
I like that. Okay, we got to focus, Matt.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is the fun part of Sandbox. Yeah. I think for like mages, right? We can put there is a turtle mage that can teach them new spells and stuff like that. I'm thinking, what are some other common player backstories might want to build in?
Oh gosh. Okay, so right, you've got missing relative, you've got quest for power, you've got revenge, you've got I'm an adventurer and I want to do adventuring. There's
What about like some thief types?
Yeah.
Some people who want to
well,
be a criminal.
that's I think that we've got a lot of things that would be worth stealing in a lot of like interesting places.
Yeah.
We haven't like built it out, but you know, we've got several dungeon or dungeon type areas. I would say that the floating Taurus, even though it's small, is probably full of very like valuable stuff that is also probably hidden behind traps or weird locks or a combination of the two. I would say maybe we make that our real like thief's paradise.
Yeah, I would also say the court of the Fae. Their room, like when we're building our rumors tables, like, hey, the people who live in the forest know that the Barons 3 all have like powerful, magic items. One has a cape of invisibility, that kind of stuff. Do we want to toss in some interesting? That these can also be connections. People who know about cool shit hidden somewhere.
So this is part of what I was thinking about, like with the Devils. The Devils know lots of things. I think the Devils, for various reasons, know basically everything, but they're not going to give that information away for free. So depending on how much the players are willing to work with them, if they don't go in and immediately just murder all of the Devils in that hunting lodge, they can find out some really cool stuff. I think that the Psycho Dwarves, the Psychonaut Dwarves, probably know a lot of things as well, and the
Psycho Dwarfs have seen the things
They have seen
in their
things.
hallucinations because they're magic hallucinations.
That's right.
They're vision
true
havers.
visions.
They get clairvoyance and stuff like that.
And there's lots. Our Minotaur knows all kinds of stuff because it's a psychic, super intelligent horned rat.
Ooh. Yes. Yeah, we need to give the Minotaur will have like a fun place that he lives outside the maze, waiting to get in. The knights curse the Minotaur, but he's so nice. Let's see. I think one of the other things to think about is when you're getting to the end of that basic outline, which we are, is next steps, right? Are there things for further adventure clues that you can then spin off for the next arc of your adventure, the next act? I mean, I think we have an obvious one, which is like go confront this like sea hag or sea demon, Davy Jones.
That's right. That's the big one. I think I'm not going to be able to like build out exactly what it means, but the Fragment of Awakening, I think, is probably, maybe it's part of something bigger. Maybe it's connected to some greater like cosmic struggle or something, and when the players find it, they realize that they've stepped into, something grander and can pursue that. I think that those are the two that are sort of like coming immediately to mind.
We've got the further mystery of what happened that we planted in the starting adventure. What happened to the dragon Syrinx?
Yeah.
So we might consider going back to our zones and seeing if anyone knows anything about that and has some clues. I'm sure some people do, especially the court of the Fae.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking now that like fun ways to forefront this curse to the players is anytime they drink water, they like have a vision of like being pulled by, inky black tentacles down into the inky blackness.
I like that. Yeah. Every time they're, or every other time, maybe they roll on a table and whenever they take a drink, there's a chance of a vision of being dragged to the depths. I like that.
The other thing you can kind of do with your point crawls is after you build out a wandering monster table is you can always build like even smaller, like little things there that you can barely call quests, right? They're just like, hey, there's this interesting spot here. It's got a this. Someone says, hey, look at this. Go over there. The next step for building this is really fleshing out the NPCs and making them interesting. And we're going to, you need at least 2 or 3 per point. Mm-hmm. Some of our points are going to need 9 to 12. What do you think the next steps? Are there anything else I'm missing here, Rob, that, because that's what I like to do when I'm done planning is think about what would be planned next.
No, I think you're right. I think everything needs a little bit more detail. And I think that means NPCs, fine-tune the sub-locations. It means we've talked about a lot of connections, but I think we can do a lot more like little connections, the kind of like small stuff that you would find in like Baldur's Gate 3 Act 1.
Like a clue.
Yeah. Wandering monsters. I think we could do a few more events. I loved that about the Dark of Hot Springs Island is that there was always like, here's this happens, then that.
Here's the event table. Yeah.
None of these are critical, but if I were going to like do next steps, these are the things that I would do sort of like in that order. NPCs, some clues, locations, and events. But I think we've got a pretty good outline, but like those are the things that I would want to do if I were going to try to run this.
Listeners, you'll have to let us know if we have any structural flaws. dmofnone@gmail.com or hop in our Discord, link in the show notes. But I'm looking over this, I'm like, all right, I don't see any like major things that don't make sense or plot holes. All our points are at least linked to 2 other points. So we're off to a good start.
We're off to a good start. I think you could start this pretty quickly, but you get this to, something you could run without too much additional prep, theoretically, he says.
Yeah. The reason why I don't always plan a sandbox for my players is because just like we've demonstrated, right? It's 2 hours of beforehand prep that you might not use for months.
And we could do this.
And so that can be tough to do.
4 more times and not run out of ideas. So that's like the blessing and the curse of a sandbox. This is fun. I like doing this, but I could also do this all day. And that's at some point you got to run the game, and don't let yourself get drawn into endless prep. Though this was fun, and I feel like we stopped at a really good point with like a lot to work with, but room to expand.
For me, like this would probably be enough that if I knew which node the players were headed to next week, like I just plan on that node and keeping the connections in mind and run it from there. But obviously we want to keep planning until we can like write it all out because we're professionals, semi-professionals, seeking semi-passive income.
That's right. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. If you think of something that we missed, if you have other questions, ideas for us, like Matt said, the email. Appreciate your support.
More episodes. And the best starting adventure
at patreon.com/Dungeon Master of None. Thanks for listening, and whatever you do, keep rolling them dice.